15 years after Mario Strikers Charge released on the Nintendo Wii, the franchise is back in the mainstream with the release of Mario Strikers Battle League on the Nintendo Switch. Does this newest entry deserve to wear a pair of golden boots, or should it be held out of in-game action and left on the bench? My name is Pizzel56X from 3 Dads on a Console, but you know me best as Pez, and this is my review of Mario Strikers Battle League. Mario Strikers Battle League is Nintendo's newest Mario sports franchise that pits teams of 5, 1 center back, 2 wingers, a striker, and an AI-controlled goalie against one another in both offline and online competition. Unlike my Kana review, Strikers is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, which means I do not need to pop my PC specs on the screen. So let's take a look at graphics and frame rate. Let me get this out of the way first. It is a Nintendo Switch game, and while you have incredibly good-looking games like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, Mario Strikers can be very hit or miss. Let's break it down in 2 ways, on the field and off the field. On the field, the game is very, very pretty. My biggest worry is that a game's colors are always going to look washed out, especially on the Switch, but both in handheld and dock mode, the game looks wonderful. There are 5 different arenas: Jungle, Lava, Spooky Mansion, Mushroom Hill, and Royal Channel, and all of them are quite varied. Also, unsurprisingly, the character models of your 10 soccer players look incredible. I'll also touch on this in the audio portion of the review because they play off one another, but Nintendo did an incredible job making their characters seem alive. I know that's a strange thing to say, but hear me out for a moment. In mainline Mario games, characters like Wario, Peach, Toad, and Rosalina almost seem to be expressionless monsters. Peach always in her constant state of peril, Rosalina very stoic or maybe even apathetic, Toad just making grunting noises when he wanted your attention. Now they have cutscenes of Peach getting legit angry when a goal is scored, and it's great to see. Each character has its own unique goal celebration cutscene and their own unique Hyper Strike cutscene. They have life, and that's very, very important.
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Let's go! Oh, yeah! Mamma mia!
Off the field, I have some issues with how this game looks. You'll find some of the still images are incredibly jaggy, especially the matchup screen that shows your team versus your opponents. Is this enough to put Strikers down? No, absolutely not. Frame rates are quite steady. The only time I've had frame rate issues is when I'm playing online, and that seems to be more of a connection issue on their end. Playing offline content, I haven't noticed any hitches, haven't noticed any frame drops. Overall, you're getting a polished game where it matters. On the field. Alright, let's talk about audio. I have to give it to Nintendo here. They did a great job with the audio. First, we'll start with the characters themselves. Nintendo did a great job giving all of their characters multiple lines of dialogue, and coupled that with some new animations, their characters really stick out. Different types of kicks have the perfect thud that you would expect. Small chip-ins sound like you're lazily kicking the soccer ball toward the net, while fully charged strikes have this beautiful whomp behind the ball. Again, Nintendo did a very good job making this game sound like soccer. When Boom Boom, your goaltender, whacks the ball away, it sounds like a soccer ball being whacked away. Slide tackles have the same effect as shots. Fully charged tackles have more oomph behind them than your standard slide tackle. It is clear that this is a game of soccer, and Nintendo did a good job emphasizing the sound behind that. Mario Strikers Battle League plays like a Mario Strikers game. There is obviously an arcadey element to the game given its nature, but this seems to be a more, and please be aware I'm doing air quotes when I say this, serious take on what Mario Strikers could be. At its core, you're playing a 5 or 4 minute game where your goal is to score as many goals as your opponent. At your disposal are your typical soccer tools: passing, crossing, shooting, and tackling. Nintendo Mario-fies it by adding items. During the game, you'll find Mario Kart-esque rainbow-colored blocks that you run into to collect one of 5 items. A green shell that shoots in front of you, a red shell that seeks out the closest opponent and knocks them out, a mushroom that makes your player faster, a bomb that walks in front of you and explodes, and finally a superstar that makes you invisible. The other team is trying to grief you by tackling your players without the ball. The crowd will throw in a question block with your team color on it that only you can collect. The same can happen if you're the one doing the griefing. These items, much like Mario Kart, can create openings for your team that will allow you to get free looks at Boom Boom. You can use these items if you get powered up, or anytime during the game. During the course of a game, an orange orb will drop onto the field that will give your team the ability to pull off a Hyper Strike. Once you fully charge a shot while you have the Hyper Strike power, a meter will show up underneath your player and goes into a quick mini game where you want your arrow to land in the blue only. There are 4 possible outcomes with Hyper Strikes. Blue, which is a perfect strike that will go in no matter what. Blue-orange, which has a chance to go in. Orange, which has a higher chance of getting stopped. And blue or orange and black, which means that there is probably a 75% chance that you're going to miss. On the defensive end, your goalie has a chance to stop anything but a perfect blue strike. A minigame will come up where you, the player, mashes the B button to fill an arrow. Doing this gives you an increased chance of stopping the ball, but your goaltender will be out of commission for a bit. Hyper Strikes are incredibly important because they're worth 2 goals. I have played in games online that have drastically turned the tide due to these Hyper Strikes. Lastly, Mario Strikers has implemented a gear system that changes the stats of every player on your roster. With coins you collect from playing the game, you can purchase gear to build what you need from that character. Looking for a striker who can, and pardon the dad joke, shoot to the moon? Gear up Rosalina to have a huge shot. Stats come in 5 different categories. Strength, which measures how much you need to charge a tackle to take someone down. Speed, which measures how fast your character can sprint. Shot, which measures how well you can shoot. Passing, which measures the accuracy and speed of your passes. And lastly, technique, which measures how wide the blue parts of your Hyper Strike are. Gearing up your players to play their positions is incredibly important, especially in Strikers Club, where you will only get to choose one striker to represent you in club games. Before I go into my recommendation, let's talk about single player and multiplayer content. If you are a single player type of gamer, listen up. Please listen up. Do not bother with Strikers. The amount of offline single player content is laughable. It is clear to me that this game was created by Nintendo so you could play online only. Currently, there are a handful of cups that you can compete for named after the stats your players have, meaning you'll play the Comet Cup, which is composed of teams that shoot well. Once you complete the standard cups, you'll unlock the Championship Cup. Once you beat that, you'll unlock Galactic Mode, which is just a harder difficulty. To unlock some pretty good looking gear, you need to once again go through the cups in Galactic Mode. Hear me out, Nintendo fans. Listen to me. Turn up your audio. There is no campaign in this game. There is no story in this game. You get some super lame tournament cups that consist of 3 games because the AI is incredibly dumb and the games are pretty easy. So again, if you are a single player only, offline only, don't do it. The majority of your time in Strikers will be spent online. Let's get this out of the way first. Currently, there's no way for you and 3 of your friends to join one team online. How Nintendo implemented their online feature is dreadful. Currently, you and a teammate group up in a room and you ready up. Once you find your opponent, you will choose your switching preferences of automatic or manual, and then you and a teammate will each select 2 characters. Depending where you land, you will either choose the striker and winger or winger and center back. In the game, you have free reign to choose any character that is not controlled by your partner. The only way to get a team of 4 in co-op is for player 1 to have 2 people connected to their Switch locally, and have player 3 have 2 people connected to their Switch locally. It absolutely boggles the mind why Nintendo wouldn't allow 4-person online co-op, especially when the technology is already implemented in Splatoon and Smash Brothers. For my money, Strikers Club is where it's at. Currently, I have a club of about 12 different people that meet in a Discord, we pair up, and we break out into different voice channels. When you're playing club, Mario Strikers will keep a record of your season stats, your club ranking, and you'll earn currency that will allow the club owner to customize your club's stadium and field. There's another layer of cooperation in Strikers Club, as everyone in the club can only select one striker to appear on the roster. It is important for the club to talk about their needs and make sure that people are gearing their strikers appropriately to fill in needed roles. If a Strikers Club doesn't tickle your fancy, there's Quick Battle where you can choose up to pair with a random teammate or find a random opponent online. While the online options are robust, Strikers Club is something that should keep pumping life into Mario Strikers. Finally, let's talk about our recommendation. Unlike other reviews, we do not score games at 3 Dads on a Console. If every game is a 9 or a 10, then no games are a 9 or a 10. Instead, we look at games through the lens of a parent who may have limited gaming time. We try to answer 2 important questions. 1, is this game worth your time? 2, is this a game you can play in front of your child without feeling any embarrassment? So I'm going to switch it up a bit and I'm going to answer the second one. Nintendo has been known as a child-friendly gaming company since it produced Super Mario Bros. Way back on the NES, and they've continued that trend with Mario Strikers Battle League. The game is bright, the game is colorful, and it is soccer. While there's limited violence and tackles and throwing items at your opponent, and you can tackle them into an electric fence, it isn't any different than playing Mario Kart. You can absolutely play this in front of your child. Depending on the age of your child, you can also play it with them. One of the cool things Strikers does allow is you can play up to 8 players locally. Now, the big question, is it worth your time? And that's a question that is much, much harder to answer. If you are a single player only type of gamer, do not buy this game. Period. Do not spend your $60 USD and more if you're not from the United States on this game. There is not enough content for you. Period. End of story. If you're someone who's going to play online, especially in a Strikers Club, I could recommend this game to you, but I'm not gonna. While I enjoy playing the game now, I have to look at the longevity of this title. If my Strikers Club puts this game down, there is a very high chance that I will not pick it back up. Nintendo has already come out saying that they will keep this game updated, which means you're likely getting 10 characters, including Daisy, so chill out everyone, more stadiums and more fields, but that's because it is probably cut content. My recommendation, wait to see what else Nintendo adds. Wait to see what modes they add. Unless your friends are beating down your door or messaging you every day on Discord, and they're saying, hey bud, we got a club going, let's go, you don't need to rush out and get this game. I am enjoying it, albeit, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, a small whiff of buyer's remorse. So can I recommend it to you? No, I cannot. If you enjoyed this review of Mario Strikers Battle League, please feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to 3 Dads on a Console for more parent gaming focused content. Again, my name is Pez. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.